Good morning once again. This is Leonard Lloyd with my third video talking about how I live with bipolar depression. These videos are meant to help those people like myself who are suffering in silence, to encourage you to go out and get the help that you need. Um, because what you think is one thing could be something else. So that's why it's a good idea to go get checked out. And to let those of you out there that are not familiar with people living with mental illness, to give you the education that you need to try to understand it and try to understand us more, because this is a hard thing to live with. It's a hard thing to deal with because this is a lifelong condition. This is not a temporary fix. And one of the most important things about that is your medication. Okay, now today we're going to do some more visuals. What you see here, this is all the medication that I take in one day. And I keep these in here one day because I take 9 pills and sometimes I may lose track. So I keep them in this little daily pill dispenser, and I call them Skittles because they're all multicolored and they're all different sizes. Every day I take 2,590 milligrams of medication a day. Four of these prescriptions are specifically for my bipolar disorder. Some are mood stabilizers, and some deal with anxiety and depression. Now, not every prescription is made for everybody. This stuff is not Tylenol. You take some pills, it's not going to kick in 2-3 hours later. This is why education is so important. You go see the psychiatrist and he gives you your list of prescriptions. I came home, I looked everything up on the computer to find out what side effects occur in each medication to see if I could tolerate those side effects. It's hit and miss when it comes to filling out a prescription, because you never know what medications work effectively and what don't. It took 2 years for me to get this combination of medication. It takes some medications 4 to 6 weeks to actively get into your system. And even though these 4 medications act separately, the majority of them have the same side effects. Sleepiness, could cause sometimes weight gain, weight loss. Since I started, I was 230 pounds. Mine act as a weight suppressant. I'm down to 198 pounds. Could be constipation. I have severe constipation. We're talking maybe every 3 or 4 days. And I think next month when I go to see the psychiatrist, I'm going to have him change my medication. There's dizziness, memory loss, for which I had to go under test for last month. I come down with the shakes sometime. I never know when it's going to happen. I never know how long it's going to happen. It's gone from a couple of seconds to a few minutes. And normally when I get the shakes, I start to feel it in my arms right here. And it's like this vibration in my arms that goes all the way down to my hands, like it's an energized feeling. And then sometimes it'll go down to my leg. The first time it happened to me in public, I was at a restaurant with a good friend of mine. And I just started and I couldn't stop. So I had to sit on my hands and I just rocked myself back because I could not stop shaking. And the next thing I know, I was crying for no reason. I was just crying and rocking, crying and rocking. The waitress comes by and she looks at me. She said, "Oh, we got one." So after 10 or 15 minutes, I was fine. It was just like nothing had happened at all. Some other side effects could be nightmares. I have never had nightmares until I started on this medication. And one time I fell out of the bed and I'm just swinging. I don't know, and I'm like, how did I get on the floor? Another time I'm in bed and I'm just sitting up swinging in bed. I know who I'm fighting with, but I don't know why. And I woke up. Why am I sitting up like this? Some people on lower medication, lower milligrams than I am, it's hard for them to get out of the house. Even though you're on the medication, Some people may have to go into the hospital 2, 3 times a month, depending on how they're feeling or what they're feeling. I've been fortunate. I've had to go into the hospital twice. Um, so no matter how much medication you're on, you never know how these things are going to affect you. You never know when they're going to affect you. That's why I stress to tell you that there is no cure. This is a day by day thing. You could go days or weeks or months. Some people can go up to a year feeling fine with no symptoms, or it could be the other way around. You could not be feeling well for days, weeks, months, maybe a whole year. This is how this works. You never know. This is why I've had to focus on trying to live one day at a time. My therapist always gets after me because I'm always trying to look to the future. How am I going to be feeling tomorrow? How am I going to be feeling next week? Can't do that because I don't know. One of the things that I do for emergency reasons is I keep a list on me. So when people tell me that you're crazy, I say, yeah, see, I got paperwork. I am crazy. I got papers. What I do, I keep in my wallet. And on here, I have all my information, my name, phone numbers of all my doctors, hospital that I can go into, all my medications with the dosage on it, the address of the farm for Walgreens, and who to contact in case something happens to me. This is really a good idea for anyone because God forbid something happened to you. Sometimes they may give you something that does not agree with the medication that you're on. So that's why I keep this in my wallet. Another thing you should be aware, and good reason to study this, in young people and some young adults, they could be tempted to suicide. So this is why, or suicide temptation, this is why you should really learn what you're taking and understand what they do. Now, I was sitting here, and as I've been doing these videos, I'm an in-your-face person. I don't like to fool around. I like to tell it like it is. And I've been debating on how open I should really be about what's been going on with me. And I figured out that if I don't tell you everything, then I'm keeping something from you, and then it makes me feel like I'm hiding something about myself because living with a mental illness is nothing to be ashamed of, and it's just not. It's nothing to be ashamed of. We're still able to function. We still have ideas. We still matter to society, and we still have a lot to contribute. And that's the way that we should be treated. Now, when it comes to suicide, I've thought about it. It has come across my mind, and one time last year, I came very close to doing it. I was having a pity party, watching a depressive movie, having cocktails, and I just felt really, really low. And I came very close to going into the kitchen and getting a knife and going across my wrist. So I called Suicide Hotline. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever called them. I was totally upset when I called them. So I called them. Not only did the phone ring 3 times, then I get that recorded message. Your message could be recorded for. I could have been gone. And the time the phone rings the 3 times and the message, I could have been gone. I had to sit there and laugh. I mean, I laughed so hard that it snapped me out of it. I'm not going to say that it has not come back into my mind again, but you're only living day to day. Right here now, I'm fine. I don't know what tomorrow may hold or how I'll feel tomorrow, but I had some people that I could get in contact with, some friends that I talked to. Another one of the side effects that I have from the medication, I have friends that live on high balconies. I cannot go out on the balconies anymore. I don't know if it's vertigo kicking in, but I just get really, really uncomfortable and shaking like I'm going to fall over, so I cannot go out there. I have extreme dizziness. If I get up too fast, I get dizzy and things are just woozing, and sometimes I have to hold on to the wall. I've had significant memory loss. I could put something down and not know what I did with it, and it could be right in front of me. and it's aggravating. I could go outside and look for my cat because I let him outside. I'm walking down the block looking for him. He's in the house. Okay, so that's one thing that just really, really upsets me. I also have a problem with my coordination sometimes. When I get on the L now, I have to hold on to the railing going downstairs to the train. Because sometimes if I'm not focused, I've missed a step in front of me and I'll go down to that step in front of it. Same thing coming up the steps. I'm not focusing. I don't see that step in front of me and I trip over that one going up to the next one. And these are the things that I deal with the side effects of medication that I have. This is not saying that this will happen to you. Medication works different on different people, and you may not be prescribed the same medication that I am. And the thing that when you change the medications, some of them, like I said, take 4 to 6 weeks. So let's say after the 4 to 6 weeks, they have to change the medication. Okay, that other medication is still in your system while the new medication is going into your system. That's why I said it takes time. It took 2 years for me to get this. I'm on 4 medications for bipolar. You may not have to be put on that many. Now, the other 5 that I'm on are vitamins and high blood pressure and cholesterol. I had to go on 2,000 milligrams of vitamin D because my vitamin D levels in my body were low because of the bipolar. I think levels should be like in the mid-30s. Mine were in the low 20s. I had to go in September to have some tests run because the therapist and the psychiatrist separately said they wanted me checked out because of the memory loss and because of my uncoordination. So in September, I had to go in for an MRI, which I really didn't mind because that doctor, he is just so fine, ladies. You would have just torn my... It was worth going in there. So I had to have an MRI. Then they did blood work. That's how they found out about the vitamin D. Then I had to go to see a neuropsychologist. I have trouble saying that word. So the test came back from the MRI. There's no brain tumor, no sign of me having any kind of a stroke because my primary physician, when I go in twice a year for my physical, he tests me to make sure that I'm not in danger of having a stroke because his medications could cause me to have some kind of a stroke. So they always check me for that. When I went to the neuropsychologist, this was like a 3.5 hour test. I was there 5 hours. No break, no lunch. I went straight through. It has to do with dexterity. You're on time limits on how your brain functions to orders. And with me, it was something with the right side of my brain and my dominant hand. I got so upset and frustrated. I refused to finish one test. And I almost busted a computer in the office. The result was a 6-page results came back, and they weren't all that good. I didn't do too well on them. So I was very upset by that. And one thing, I have to learn how to focus, how to take my time, how to stay calm. Because sometimes I'm trying to do 4 or 5 things at the same time. And then I get nervous, I get upset, I start dropping things, I start getting clumsy, and I get upset all over again. Another way I can know when I'm taking off is I'm just getting really, really hyper, and my speech will start to slur, and I'll start to stutter. That's when I know it's time to calm down. I am very happy with all the kind words that you all have sent me. The success of the videos. First video is 850 people have seen it. The second video, I think it's up to 360. And I'm really hoping that this can help anybody out there that needs the help. If you need the help, please go to the doctor, have yourself checked out, see if there's anything that you need. Any of you out there that are not familiar with mental illness, thank you so much for starting the conversation. Continue the conversation. Go online and learn about these things so that if you have a friend or relative that's having a bad time, you can try to do something to help them. There is no right or wrong way. You don't always know what to say. You don't always know what to do. Because sometimes I'll sit there and so, hug me. I need a hug. This is what I'm saying inside. Now you may come over to hug me. I'm like, back up. I don't want to go there right now. Or someone may come up and say, how you don't ask me right now. But when I'm in a joking mood and people will come up and we'll be joking around sometime maybe late at night or something, and they said, and they'll say something to me and I'll tell them, say, you know what? It's getting late. My meds are wearing off, so you better take that into consideration. Okay? Or I'll tell them, my meds have become union. They're taking 2 15-minute breaks and an hour lunch. So you better catch me while I'm still feeling good. Again, I deal with it with humor. This is what works for me. Or sometimes people will say, well, you're crazy, and they'll catch themselves. Technically, I'm crazy. That's the way I look at it. And they're not saying it in a derogatory way. So I don't take it that way. And I still, girl, you crazy, man, you ain't got no. That's just something that we say normal everyday life. So I don't take it that way. What I do get upset about is people who do not take your illness into consideration. I mean, I've had people come up to me and tell me that people are afraid to be around me, people are nervous around me, and because of my temper and because of my condition. And I'm the type of person, if you don't feel comfortable around me, stay the hell away from me. Because I'm going to stay the hell away from you. And for you to say something like that to somebody, that shows not only how uncaring and how cold-hearted you are, it also shows how ignorant you are. Because as I said before, none of us wakes up and said, I want a mental illness today. We don't do that. We try to have as normal and self-fulfilling day as everybody else, and we just want to be treated with love, kindness, and respect like everybody else. The next time I come back, I would like to talk about places that you can go if you need help. And see, my memory's going. I'm almost forgetting what I have to say. And what you need to do to find out where you can go and get some help, or family members can go and get help. Again, I am not a doctor. I am not a therapist. I am not a psychologist, psychiatrist. I am just a diva living with mental illness that's trying to make it through the day and trying to pass on some words of encouragement. So as always, thank you for watching. Please keep the conversation going, and I'll see you next time.